Hello and welcome to my Battle for Azeroth dungeon guide. In this video we are looking at the Waycrest Manor dungeon on normal mode. This dungeon is Warcraft's take on a haunted mansion, and it's actually quite cool, but it is a bit cramped, so the camera will be zoomed in quite a lot throughout the video. Starting out, you are greeted by Lady Waycrest, who you will fight as a boss later in the dungeon. She will just taunt you and leave you to deal with the trash. The next trash packs are not much to worry about, but they do have a disorientate effect that can disable your healer. You will encounter the first boss very early into the dungeon, and it's a council fight made up of 3 sisters known as the Heartsbane Triad. Starting the fight, one of the sisters will be holding a focusing iris which gives them energy. As you can see from the boss frames on the right side of the UI, Sister Selena started with the iris on this pull. Whenever one of the sisters reaches 100 energy, they will perform a dire ritual that deals massive damage to all players. The only way to prevent this is by dealing enough damage to the sister that's holding the iris, which will cause her to drop it and be picked up by another sister. This means there will be a lot of target swapping on this encounter to prevent the dark ritual from happening. In addition to this, each sister has their own unique abilities. Sister Briar will cast Bramble Bolt, which deals quite a high amount of damage to her target but can be interrupted. She will also use Jagged Nettles, which deals damage to the tank and applies a bleed effect that can only be removed by healing them above 90% health. Sister Malady will cast Ruinous Bolt, which deals damage to her target and is interruptible, but the damage is less so than Bramble Bolt. She will also cast Unstable Runic Mark, which marks all players with cursed runes dealing damage every second, and explodes after 6 seconds, dealing damage to all other nearby players, so do try and spread out a bit. Finally, Sister Selena has her own targeted interruptible cast in the form of Soul Bolt, but she will also mind control a random player with soul manipulation, but this can be broken by damaging the player to 50% health. After this, you will then fight your way out to the courtyard, where you will find a matron Brindle. She will cast a Splinter Strike that causes wooden spikes to erupt from the ground, damaging players in the process. Next, you will fight the second boss, the Soulbound Goliath. On the pull, the boss will get a damage buff called Soul Harvest, which increases his damage done by 5%, and he gains a stack of this every 2 seconds. To counteract this, you need to utilise the wildfire mechanic. Periodically, lightning will strike the ground and cause a small fire to burn. By positioning the boss in the fire, he will lose stacks of Soul Harvest, but it will also cause him to shoot fireballs at the group for 6 seconds. The Goliath will also stun a random player with Soul Thorns, which deals ticking damage every second. The group will need to kill these thorns to free the player. His only other ability is a Crush, which deals heavy damage to the tank, especially if he has high stacks of Soul Harvest. After the Goliath, you head back inside the house to fight more trash and potentially get lost on your way to the third boss. Raal the Gluttonous will be the next boss you meet. He is rooted in place, so if anyone is not in melee range, he will deal high ticking damage to the entire group. At the start of the fight, he will cast Rotten Expulsion. This sends out rotten food that deals damage on impact and stays on the floor, damaging anyone who stands in it. An important ability to look out for is Tenderize. This deals damage in a large cone in front of the boss, so be ready to move to the other side of the room. At some point, he will call servants into the fight. They will move towards the boss, and once they get in his range, he will consume them, giving him a damage increase. The servants have not got much health, so they can be easily killed if you choose to do so. After Raal, you will need to clear the trash in the kitchen to get down to the cellar. There you will clear more trash and gain access to the catacombs, and in the catacombs you will face the Lord and Lady Waycrest. When you engage them, you will fight Lord Waycrest, and Lady Waycrest will stay back behind a barrier. Lord Waycrest will use Wasting Strike on the tank. This deals damage and applies a small dot for 5 seconds. His most dangerous ability is Virulent Pathogen. This debuffs the target, dealing damage each second, and after 5 seconds or after being dispelled, they explode and spread the Virulent Pathogen to all nearby players. When Lord Waycrest gets low on health, Lady Waycrest will use Vitality Transfer, which consumes a portion of her own health to heal Lord Waycrest back to full health. When this happens, Lord Waycrest will get a stack of Putrid Vitality, which increases his damage and haste. Lady Waycrest will also use Racking Cord, which damages a random player for a small amount. She will periodically cast Discordant Cadenza as well. This deals damage to any player standing in a large number of impact points on the floor, so you need to dodge the shadow circles on the ground. After defeating the Waycrests, Gorak Tul will enter the area and spawn some horrors to attack your group. You will need to kill these off and then venture down into the rupture to kill him. When you engage Gorak Tul, he will start gaining energy. At 100 energy, he will cast Dread Essence, which damages all players and resurrects any adds that have died. The adds that he spawns don't really do much, they will just cast a Dreadbolt which deals damage to their target. The boss will also cast Darkened Lightning. This is an interruptible cast that deals damage to his target and jumps to nearby players, damaging them as well. To aid in your fight, Inquisitor Yorick will throw an alchemical fire at a target location which burns the corpses of the slaver adds, preventing them from being resurrected. That concludes the Waycrest Manor dungeon guide. If you enjoyed this video, then feel free to subscribe for more Battle for Azeroth content.